Stone Temple Pilots are back with their 7th studio album, their 2nd self-titled album, and their 1st album with Jeff Gutt, former American Idol contestant, progeny of the true Dark Lord himself, Simon Cowell. He sees all, he hears all, he is all. So, is it any good? That's what we're here for, you silly twats. Now, Stone Temple Pilots were one of those bands that I never really got into. Not that I disliked them, but I gave them a go a number of times, and it just never resonated with me. Never really got into their music. As far as Scott Weiland was concerned, I was far more familiar with the stuff he did with Velvet Revolver, and I didn't actually get a chance to check out I think it was an EP they did with Chester Bennington. R.I.P. to both Scott and Chester, by the way, sadly missed. I've purposely not done too much research for this review because I wanted to just do something a bit different and just judge it on this album. As I mentioned, Jeff Gutt was formerly of American Idol fame, but I will not hold that against him. This album will be judged squarely on its songs therein, and not the hideous history that preceded it. I am sorry, Dark Lord. I'm going to get straight into the songs, but before I do, just quickly read the lineup for this album. Jeff Gutt on vocals, who joined in 2017. Dean DeLeo on guitar. Robert DeLeo on bass and backing vocals. And Eric Kretz on drums. I think these are the original members. I've not actually done any research for it, so perhaps I should have done. Ignorant reviews! Fuck! It's called It's Icy. I could put up a hood. The album kicks off with Middle of Nowhere. First thing I want to say is actually pointing out the production on this album, which I really enjoyed. It's got a real fat, beefy sound. The rhythm section in particular sounds very good. I'm I was very impressed with the drums sound on this album. Sounds very good. Really snapped, but had a nice thickness and a nice heaviness to it. So, great production. It's got some great bluesy riffs. One thing I have to say right off the bat is that Jeff Gutt is good. He's good, yeah? Jeff Gutt does a great job with the vocals. That's one thing I'd like to say straight away. Despite all my mockery of his allegiance with the Dark One. Forgive me, Dark Lord. He's a pretty damn good vocalist. Definitely reminiscent of Scott Weiland. I can see why they chose him. There were certainly moments in the album where it definitely sounded like Scott, but I think he does enough of a. I think he makes it his own as well. I think he does. He stands his ground. He does a solid job. Get to the point. So solid start to the album. Up next we have Guilty. As I said before, I noticed the production sound for the rhythm section in particular sounds great, and I'm really digging the rhythm section on this song. I really like the off-kilter vibe of the guitar lines in this song again, and once again, Jeff's vocals are on point. This used to be a home. Next up we have the first single, which is Meadow. Really enjoyed this one. Got a really driving opening riff, and some of the vocals remind me very much of Soundgarden's Limo Wreck from their Super Unknown album. And there's a really great chorus on this one. When there's nowhere to hide, yeah, we're gonna sip on as we drink from the fire that was burning in the meadow. With luck in our eyes and the stains of our souls, we can drink from the fire that was burning in the widow. Meadow! I can imagine this would be a great song live. Next up, Just a Little Lie. Just a little lie. Does this please you, Dark Lord? Yeah, real trippy psychedelic vibe on this one. Again, kind of reminds me of Soundgarden, the guitars more specifically. I know they were contemporaries of Soundgarden back in the day, so I'm not accusing anyone of ripping off or anything like that. I think it was part of the scene. I guess they were all influenced by Sabbath and the Beatles and all that style of thing. But yeah, real nice psychedelic trippy vibe. Really like this one. 6/8 is up next. Starts out with a bit more of a Zeppelin inspired riff, and also has moments of Pink Floyd, David Gilmour sort of guitar line passages. Decent enough song. Now we come to the first of a couple of songs I'm not so taken with. Thought She'd Be Mine. This is kind of a very saccharine, sugary ballad type thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, the lyrics are dealing with a love that never was, somebody he was interested in but never got with, but still not so much to my liking, this one. I'm sorry, Dark Lord. Next up is the second single, Roll Me Under. Very much enjoyed this one. Very nice riffs on this one. Kind of almost got a Rage Against the Machine kind of vibe. I mean, I know they were very they kind of had those Led Zeppelin riffs as well, but this is actually definitely more specific to Rage Against the Machine and their sort of vibe. Roll me under, I'll pull the trigger for you, do with me what you will. Hold me under, the water running over, do with me what you will. Next up is the fourth single, which is Never Enough. Very strong similarity on moments of this for Bowie and Gene Genie. Very similar groove. Fucking hell, it's cold. Is this you, Dark Lord? Next up is the third single, The Art of Letting Go. Another sugary ballad that does little for my cold heart. I have angered you, Dark Lord! Next up we've got Finest Hour, which is again another slow, clean, ballady type song. But I actually enjoyed this one. I didn't mind this one so much. This pleases you, Lord. Up next we have Good Shoes. Now we have a bit more of a return to the rocky, swaggering, bluesy riffs. Nice one. Really enjoyed this. Some great energy in this and a real nice guitar solo from De Leon. And closing the album we have Reds and Blues. Another slow one, but I really enjoyed this one. Got a very psychedelic, trippy, Beatlesque vibe to it yet again. Not a bad close to the album at all. Very much enjoyed this one. So that was the second self-titled. Fucking A. So that was the second self-titled album. Seventh album, first album with Duff. There's a bunch of numbers with this band. There's numbers all over this shit. But yeah, besides those three sort of sugary, ballady, more type songs, I actually quite enjoyed this album a lot more than I was expecting. As I said at the start, I've never been a huge Stone Temple Pilots fan. Not bad band, just never really was my cup of tea. But I had no problem listening to this album. Some really good stuff on it. I'm sure if you're a Stone Temple Pilots fan, you're gonna get a lot of enjoyment out of this. And if you're not, I'm sure you'll get a lot of enjoyment out of this. If you're a fan of the more sort of bluesy, rockier, I mean, I guess they were categorised as grunge, weren't they? There's certainly elements of grunge, but I'd say it was more of a, bluesy vibe on this one. I approached the forest of the Dark Lord. So that was the that was the album. So that was the so that was
absolutely dreadful.